Hey, love bugs. Dr. Ashley Greer here. Today we're talking even more about codependency. I am Dr. Ashley Greer. I'm a former psychologist. I have my PhD in psychology, and I help women live a hell yes life to leave behind all of the people pleasing, all of the codependency, all of the sense of you have to put other people's needs before your own, and to teach you that self first is not so fish, so that you can finally live a life of unconditional love where you feel secure, safe, and totally amazing, totally radically expressing yourself, and feeling as though it's safe to be all of you. The sunlight today is gorgeous here in Thailand. I am currently living in Thailand. And so let's jump into what we're going to talk about today about codependency. So, today we want to talk about what it is that codependency is trying to seek, what it's trying to gain, what it's trying to get from other people. We talked about this a little bit yesterday when we talked about codependency is trying to control other people, and codependency being basically our effort in trying to get unconditional love and our effort in trying to get our worthiness and enoughness and all of that stuff, right? But what is it? Why is it that people are codependent? Because a lot of times when we're with a codependent partner or we ourselves have codependent tendencies, we're not thinking to ourselves, golly, I sure need some more unconditional love. Let me go out there and get it by giving more. No, what we usually think is, I'm a really freaking good person and I'm going to go out there and give more because this is how I want the world to work. I want the world to be this beautiful, loving place that's full of love, that's full of connection. And so I'm just going to give more. The problem becomes people mistake that sense of giving more with the sense of I'm giving more to get. When we are giving more, so like that might sound really confusing. So when we are out there in the world trying to give and give and give, right? Because we really want the world to be fair, we want the world to be beautiful, we want the world to have justice, we want the world to have equality. These are all amazing things. We do not want to take these parts away from us, right? That would be ridiculous, and that is not what we want to do here. That's not what we're doing here. The problem is that we basically feel as though it's our job to remove those things, that it all needs to fall on our back, and that if we can only go out there and do more and be more to more people, that we will be able to fix everything. I mean, think about how heavy that feels right now. Like, how heavy does it feel thinking about you have to go out there and fix everything and make everything fair? I totally understand this tendency. I remember when I was a kid, there was this cartoon with like two bears, and the one bear stole the other bear's picnic basket or something, and I started bawling because I was like, it's not fair. That bear worked all week, and then this picnic basket, and that other bear stole it. I mean, and my parents were like, what the hell is going on with this kid, right? It was because I had this intense sense of fairness and justice and that life should work this way, right? That's not the problem. The problem is when I then, and I have done this, oh, I can tell you another story. I'll tell you this story. When we feel as though it falls on us to fix it. I remember being at a barbecue once around the 4th of July in the US, and a group of my friends was playing volleyball with another group, and they were all on a team together. And they were playing volleyball in this sand pit with another group of people who did not know how to play volleyball at all. Like, and they were all people at the same barbecue. I literally took it upon myself to walk up to them and tell them that they had to mix up their teams because it was totally unfair, because the people who knew how to play volleyball were just hammering and just totally annihilating the people who didn't know how to play volleyball, and it just wasn't fair. It was my job to fix it. Ring any bells? Ring any bells? Not wanting people to feel pain so much so that you go in and you stick your nose into things that don't matter. I mean, my friends, that was like 15 years ago or something. My friends still bring this up. They're like, yeah, remember the time you ruined our volleyball game? And I'm like, it wasn't fair. And they're like, it wasn't your job to fix. And I was like, damn it. You're right. You're right. It totally wasn't my job to fix that. It totally wasn't my job to fix that. And how often in your life do you feel as though it's your job to fix things that it's not your job to fix? Right? We don't want to confuse this with being totally unplugged from our society and not participating in things like social justice, because that's not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is it's sort of like the alcoholics creed, right? Like, God, give me the serenity to to control the things I can and let go of the things I can't control, and to know the difference between the two. It's sort of like that. God, give me the serenity, the sanity to contribute in meaningful ways and helpful ways to things that I can contribute to, and to let go of those things that I can't contribute to, and know the difference between the two. And this could be like the codependence creed. I don't know if there is such a thing, but that's basically what it would be. Because when we are trying to fix all things for all people, we end up feeling as though we're suffering and that something's wrong with us because we can't fix it. This is why codependency is something that's brought up so often within the context of alcoholic relationships. Not alcoholic relationships, but you know what I mean, like with an alcoholic. So I have an alcoholic family member who, for years, when this alcoholic family member would drink when we'd be out to lunch, I would be like, "Do you have to drink right now?" And they would get very upset because I felt like it was my duty to make that person not drink. But you better damn well know that that person was going to drink as much as they wanted when they weren't sitting right there in front of me. And so my efforts at trying to fix them and make them not drink in that moment were completely moot. Were completely useless. We're not doing anything except for ruining that moment between me and that person to be able to sit and have a lunch. If they decide they wanted to drink, I need to just accept that that's that person's choice. But this is why it's talked about within the context of toxicity and alcoholism and things like that so often, is because there is a very distinct thing that you cannot control, which is their alcoholism, which is their drug abuse, etc., their toxicity. But here's the real truth of the matter. We cannot control other people. We cannot control other people. We cannot take their pain away from them. We cannot go out in the world and like have all their pain for them so that nobody else ever has to experience pain. And the fact that we think we can and we think we should ends up sabotaging our happiness, because then we feel as though we can't be happy as long as they're not happy. Which means we are then placing a contingency on our happiness, pinning it upon their happiness. But what's more than that is we're actually judging the other person's mood because it directly affects our own. Instead of just saying, you know what I have control over is my own mood, is the way I feel, is how happy I am, and that person is their own responsibility. And the best way that I can impact them is by impacting myself. All right, lovely. So that's what I have to talk about today. I am so excited that you're tuning into this series all about codependency, all about the ways that codependency affects our lives. This is a series of hour-long workshops that I'm doing in the Abundance Revolution low-cost membership. There's only 2 ways to work with me right now. One is my intensive one-on-one mentorship that will light speed your results and your impact and your ability to get over these things, because we point out your direct patterns so very clearly and so very precisely and help you process those pain points. But not everybody can afford to work with me one-on-one, which is why I created this low-cost membership space, so that you could learn everything that I have to teach, everything that I know as my work, from my work as a psychologist, from my work as a psychic channel. I also offer some of that in the group as well. From my work on myself, working through my own codependency, working through my own dysfunctional background, very dysfunctional background as well. From myself in terms of leaving behind my work as a psychologist, leaving behind everything that I ever knew, my ex-fiance, all of this stuff, and going out there to live a hell yes life. But I had to leave behind the idea that it was my job to keep other people happy in order to go live it. And that's what I'm inviting you to do as well. All right, I hope to see you over there, and I love you. I love your face, and thank you so much for the likes and shares, and I can't wait to see you soon. Mwah.